Welcome back to another episode of Drop the Mitts Hockey Podcast, brought to you in partnership with Primetime Productions. We have an awesome guest here today from the U.S. National Development Program, Brodie Ziemer. I hope I'm saying your last name right, dude. I was trying to look it up, like the pronunciation, but they didn't have it anywhere, so I hope I'm pronouncing it right.
Yep, you got it.
How you doing, man? Good to have you on. It's honestly an honor of ours, so definitely happy to have you. How you doing?
I'm good. Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Yeah, of course, man. I know you're getting ready for a long trip. You're not a long trip, but a trip over to Norway. How you feeling about that, man? That's exciting. You ever been over there?
No, this will be my first time. Yeah, obviously super pumped. It's the first one of the year for us, so we're really excited.
Yeah, man. So talk to us about how the season's been going so far. You've had like a wide variety of games and competition. Talk to us about how the season's been going, how the season's been going for you, and just the team as a whole as well.
Yeah, we've had some good games. We've had some bad ones. I think we're still trying to figure that out. We're still trying to figure out how to play in the hard games, but I think this week's going to be really big for us with that. So excited to get it going.
Yeah, man. So for a lot of our listeners that don't know, typically we have like college kids on, NHL guys, but talk to us about like what the day-to-day lifestyle is, right? Playing for the National Development Program, because it's a little bit different of a route, right? It's a little bit different than going the juniors or going straight to college. So talk to us about what your day-to-day lifestyle's like, and then that balance between hockey and like your personal life as well.
Yeah. So I mean, it starts off in the morning. We'll come in. We'll do school for a little bit. Then we'll go downstairs. We'll warm up. Then we skate, and then we'll lift after. And yeah, I mean, obviously it's a little different living away from your families at this age, but I mean, we have each other. We like to hang out with each other after the days, and I mean, sometimes you just like to have a little time to yourself. So after the long days.
Yeah, so yeah, talk to us a little bit more about that like brotherhood you guys have that you guys have going, because I've talked to a few other kids that have played, throughout the years, and they, that's one of the biggest things they talk about, right? Is that brotherhood you guys have. You're away from home, you're a young man, probably first time away from home for a lot of you guys, living with host family. So yeah, talk to us about that brotherhood and that bond you have with your teammates.
Yeah, I think that's a huge part of it. I mean, it's not easy moving away from your home. There's a lot of goods and bads your first year here, and I think just the guys on the team are a huge part of keeping you kind of in the moment, and I mean they're always there for you. I've had some moments where I need someone, I need to talk to someone, and I can go to them. Like you said, we're brothers here. It's a super special group that we have.
Yeah, man, and honestly, just as going back to the hockey piece of things, you've had some crazy competition this year. Like obviously, you got a chance to play against, Boston University, who going into this year, a lot of people had as the number one team, and rightfully so with all the talent they have, and you guys went in and waxed them. And talk to us about what it was like playing against those guys, that older competition, and that team, and how you guys were able to kind of come together and take them down.
Yeah, I think a huge part of that was everybody was going that game. I mean, the power play was kicking, our penalty kill was good, our goalie had a really really good game. I mean, it was just a really cool atmosphere for our whole team. With the band and everything, it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, man, you must be ready to get over to Minnesota, right, man? Because hockey's even crazier out there too, right?
Yeah, I mean, it gets pretty rowdy. Yeah, pretty good student section.
Yeah, what would you say is the craziest barn you've ever played in? Like craziest atmosphere, craziest fans. What would you say?
I think BU was pretty sweet. I mean, it was pretty full. They were excited to see Iserman and Hudson play, so it was pretty packed.
Yeah, dude, that's insane that they're going to be getting Cole next year. Like that's insane. It kind of came out of left field, dude. Like all of a sudden, I like looked on my phone and saw that he was now going to BU. So did he talk to you about that decision at all? Because obviously he was committed to Minnesota and kind of flipped, right? He's from Mass. So did he talk to any of you guys about that decision beforehand? Kind of came out of nowhere.
Yeah, he let me know that he was making that decision, and I'm proud of him for it. It's not an easy decision to make, and it took a lot of thought from him, and yeah, like I said, I'm proud of him. I mean, it doesn't matter where he goes, he's gonna be Cole Eiserman anywhere. So
Yeah, for sure, dude. And obviously, kind of going back, you grew up in Carver, Minnesota. You're committed to play at the University of Minnesota. Growing up in that area, obviously, you've had some unbelievably talented hockey players come through or come through there. Some incredibly talented teams. Did you have a favorite player growing up that you kind of try to emulate your game after?
yeah, I think. Well, I really liked Nick Bukestad, like early days when I was a little guy going and watching the Gophers. Back when they had that wagon of a team, he was one of my favorites.
Yeah, dude. I remember he was freaking insane. Like, and he's a big boy too. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, he was so good. Are there any like current players now that you kind of watch and you see a little bit of yourself in those guys?
Yeah, I think I'm kind of similar to Tyler Toffoli. I mean, he scores a good amount of his goals around the blue paint. That's kind of what my game is. Yeah, heavy game, physical.
Yeah, talk about a guy who's ripping it up right now, dude. He's having an unbelievable year. That's a really good comparison, man. Because I was watching some of your highlights, and that's actually a phenomenal comparison. I didn't even think of that, but kind of want to take you back a little bit before the national development days. You had two unbelievable seasons at Shattuck St. Mary's. I mean, we were just texting about it, man. Like, you give credit to your teammates, and which is unbelievably humble, right? When you score 108 and 109 points. Talk to us about what it was like playing at Shattuck. Obviously, it's a program with like tons of tradition. Some unbelievably talented guys have come through there, including yourself. Talk to us about that program, right? I mean, we hear about it all the time, but what was it like playing there?
Yeah, I mean it was awesome. My freshman year there was COVID, so it was, we were all on the same floor. Like our team was so tight that year. I mean, pretty much just played hockey that year. There wasn't a lot of school; it was kind of online. Um,
What's better
yeah,
than
I mean,
that, dude?
yeah, I got to go up against Iserman, Celebrini, Hayden Park, Will Scahan, John Whipple, Drake Murray every day. Like that was a huge piece of development for me, I think. And then my next year there, got to play with John Whipple, Christian Epperson again. Had another really good year as a team. Got second. Yeah, I mean that place is awesome for kids who want to take their game to the next level. And I think like another thing is I grew as a person a ton there as well. I mean, you live away from home, you got to manage your classes and school and hockey and all that stuff. It's an awesome spot.
Yeah, and that kind of leads into my next question. Like, how did you kind of balance that, right? Obviously, you had to focus on school. You just brought up, obviously the COVID year was a little bit different, right? Or
Yeah.
it was mostly hockey, but being such a young man, like, how did you kind of take it upon yourself to find that balance and be able to get everything done?
Yeah, I think it's just at the end of the day, it's just having that maturity and knowing that you have homework due on whatever it is Thursday. You got to do it. Otherwise, it's going to build up and you're just going to become stressed, and then takes away from the hockey part. And that's definitely not something you want.
Yeah, and kind of going back to the hockey piece of things, you mentioned some pretty elite names, right? Some competition that you got to play against on a daily basis. But tell us what that did playing against those guys did for your development. Like what obviously playing against those kind of guys, and I'm sure that they probably say the same about you, right? Like being able to go against talent like you and all those other guys you mentioned, like how big was that for your development?
Yeah, it was huge. I mean, not only are they super, super talented, but they work really hard. So, I mean, going against them and whatever it was, a one-on-one or just a two-on-two battle drill, like they're giving it their all. And if you want to compete against them, you got to give, yeah, I mean, as much or even more than they are. So it was huge for me.
Yeah, and so kind of, obviously this year is still pretty early in the season, right? This off season, were there any areas in your game that you really wanted to focus on improving? And then to caveat off that, what would you say some of your biggest strengths are in your game?
Yeah, I think this summer I spent a lot of time on my skating and just my strength overall. That was something I kind of at the end of last year I talked to the coaches about. That's something I need to focus on, and that's what I did. And I thought I took some good strides this year with that. But yeah, I think some of my strengths are just seeing the ice, my shot. I think I can get it off quick and surprise the goalies a little bit. And yeah, I think just my compete level.
Yeah. So you're committed to play at the University of Minnesota for the Gophers. Being from Minnesota, was it Minnesota all the way? Like, were you always did you always have that in the back of your mind? Were there any other schools that were involved that kind of was it close, or was it always the Gophers?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I was thinking about it. I checked out a couple other schools, but I just grew up wanting to be a Gopher. Living away from home for the last couple of years is I just kind of wanted to get back home, and I mean that place is awesome. The coaching staff's unreal, so it's a pretty easy decision for me.
Yeah, I can't even imagine, especially being like, because obviously I'm from Massachusetts, so we got the Bean Pot, all that. But you watch some of those highlights, right, of the Minnesota high school tournament, like those crowds are insane, and then obviously going to the college ranks, those Gophers games are just insane. So like, I can't even imagine what it's like playing in front of that atmosphere. Um, so obviously, and you're 2024 draft eligible, so that'll be this upcoming draft. Um, Tell us what for a team that's going to draft you. Tell us exactly what they're getting in a guy like Brodie Ziemer, both on the ice and off the ice.
Yeah, I think they're getting a guy who can play anywhere in the lineup, can penalty kill, can be net front on the power play. I think you're getting a leader, someone who's just willing to do the little things. Yeah.
They're so obviously it's going to be an honor wherever you go, right? Because just getting a draft, just getting drafted, you're part of that elite group, right? Like you're the best of the best. Are there any teams that you're kind of like would be starstruck to kind of go to and be, have the chance to play for that team, or obviously the right answer, you'd be honored wherever you go. But in the back of your mind, do you have a couple teams that you'd love to go kind of play for?
Yeah, I mean, like you said, getting drafted anywhere would be unreal. But obviously, I'm a Minnesota boy. Favorite team is the Wild. Growing up, that would be pretty sweet to play for them. The XL Energy Center is unreal. The crowd's always good, so I think that'd be pretty cool.
Yeah, I always see videos of them. Like when their goal horn goes off. Obviously, it just looks absolutely electric. I gotta make it down there. Um, but yeah, man, that's pretty much it. I can't thank you enough for coming on and taking time out of your day. I know you're super busy getting ready for Norway. Um, but honestly, we wish you the best of luck, man, the rest of the year, and obviously, leading up to the combine and then obviously the draft. We hopefully we can hear from you before then, and we wish you nothing but the best, and take care, bud.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Of course, man. Thank you again. That is episode 19 of Drop the Mitts Hockey Podcast with Brodie Ziemer, forward for the U.S. National Development Program. Unbelievably talented kid, unbelievable player, and even better off the ice. So can't thank him enough for coming on, and we'll see you guys next time. Take care.